What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the Hillside. Now, if you remember way back in January, I dubbed this 2022 the year of the tree. And now it's time for an update on the trees I have grown from seed, a little bit of progress, and some new additions here to my year of the tree project. So let's go ahead and check these things out. All right, here we go. All right, so the first tree on this little tour here, these are bald cypress trees. Okay, yeah, the ones you've seen, like, they grow in the southern part of the United States. They usually have the big knobs that are actually the roots that are, getting the air transfer. You see the typical like swamp type plant. But anyways, check it out. So what I did is last year there's a bald cypress tree, and I just kind of took a couple of the cones and just sprinkled them into an old pot, and literally just left them all winter long, all spring. And one day I actually had something growing in this pot, and I'd given up hope on these seeds at all, and literally I started seeing a bunch of these little guys poking up, and just put two and two together and realized once the leaves were kind of coming out that these were the bald cypress that I planted from the seed. And as you can kind of tell here, they are a bit finicky. These two had a tree in them, and they just literally up and die. Like, they'll be healthy like this and come back the next day and they're just dead. I don't know why. Something got to the roots, or I'm not really sure, but there you go. So those are the bald cypress. Let me go ahead and take you over here and show you what else I got going on here on the gardening table. All right, so these are apple trees that my daughter actually started from seed, and I've been taking care of and potted these up. So this one here doesn't look quite as healthy as the others, but it's doing fine. And this is just an experiment, and I know people leave in the comments that they're not going to breed true to type, etc., etc., and that's fine. It's just a fun experiment. But these apple trees are healthy. Just transplanted them yesterday to bigger pots, so hopefully they'll take off with a little bit more vigor and a little bit more room to grow, as they were getting a little bit root bound in the other containers I had them in. So moving along over to here. Now, these are another big surprise. So I had a bunch of pawpaw seedlings, and sorry guys and gals down in Australia, we're not talking about papayas, we're talking about the American pawpaw. So I know you guys do call your papayas pawpaws down there, so it's a little interesting. But so another, just like the previous tree, the bald cypress, I had a bunch of seeds. I cold stratified them. I did everything you're supposed to do. I put them in a container outside and waited and waited and waited and waited, and nothing grew. Okay, I tried starting some of these indoors, like just in the on the grow lights and things like that. When I was starting everything else, nothing would germinate. So the ones that were left out, they got rained on, they got frost, they got cold, they got hot. And here it is, June 26th, and they're coming up all on their own. Now, I did try to transplant some of these, and these are not doing healthy. Like this guy here is probably not going to make it. I don't know about this one over here, but these are really finicky plants, as it turns out, to try to grow from a seed. But you can kind of see where it's breaking through the hard shell right there. Now, I did read somewhere that they do need to be scarified, which is kind of crack the shell open a little bit to help the seedlings emerge. And I can kind of see why they would say that, because I mean, if you look right here to this guy where the plant is growing, it's really having a difficult time getting out of the seed coat right there. So I may try to be very careful and kind of help crack the seed open a little bit. But all told, I had I think 28 seeds, 26 germinated, and I'm thinking about 5 or 6 of them are probably going to die here really soon. But just another fun experiment, growing some pawpaws from seed. So this is not part of the tree tour, but this is part of just the garden, little semi-nursery area I have going on over here. Now this is the container right here that I had the bald cypress seedlings in, and they as well do not like being transplanted. So this little guy came up, is just going to kind of grow in this container. And I have planted some lettuces and some spring greens kind of around. So it's going to be kind of grown as the understory. And this little tomato volunteer came out of nowhere, so it can stay. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. And yet another bald cypress. These things are just everywhere. But if you do grow them, guys, they are very finicky. If some of them just up and die for no reason, you're not a bad gardener. You're not a bad person. These things they're hard to grow. Okay, so moving along right here. And this little container here needs to be divided out. And these are Osage orange. Yes, the plant they used in the the American Midwest way back in 1800s before barbed wire was invented. And I can tell you the spikes on this thing are savage. I have some in my backyard here that I use it as kind of a screening hedge. And if you get too close while weed eating or cutting the mower, it will slice you up. So the point of growing these, probably not best for your pet friendly areas, but I am trying to make a hedge, like a boundary, for kind of area that's really impractical fence. So hopefully these plants will grow up for that purpose. I'm going to take you over here real quick to this bench here. And again, these are some more of the bald cypress. And the leaves on these, I mean, they're just a really cool little plant altogether. So hopefully they do pull through, and some of these survive to be able to plant out. Now these are some more of the pawpaws right here, and this guy right here, little focus, the seed kind of, I don't know, slug got to it or it just naturally fell off. I'm not really sure. This one here looks like it's kind of grown. The seed coat may have come off and it may survive, so that's encouraging. And this one right here, like I said, take the seed coat and crack it up if you have to, because it's obviously not very easy for these guys to break through. So I guess I can see honestly that's very important. So these are more of the Osage right here, a couple more in little 4-inch pots, kind of divided up. But yeah, so tons and tons and tons. Osage from seed, very, very, very easy. I have them everywhere, so I have plenty. I've already given some away. It's going to be fantastic. So if you can kind of tell right here, just by the shape of these leaves, these are in fact ginkgo trees. Okay, ginkgos are typically not grown from seed because you don't want to take the chance of getting a male tree. I'm sorry, a female tree. You want the males, because the females make these the fruit that has smell really, really bad. But you know what? That's a chance you have to take. These will be planted out at the farm, so if there are issues, it won't be as bad as if it was in a city or in a residential area. Now, this right here, I never really recovered from the shipping. It came in all bent over, but this is the Acer pentaphyllum, or the Chinese 5-leaf maple. This is a very, very rare tree in the wild. I think they said there's fewer than 500 left in China. They do grow fairly well in nursery stock. However, they do not grow from seed. Okay, so they are very, very difficult to grow from seed, if they ever seed at all. But I just like this. I mean, check out the red coloration right there. It's it kind of reminds me of a Japanese maple, somewhat more the ornamental type. But yeah, I just like the idea of maybe some way and somehow I'm actually helping to preserve a basically an endangered plant in the wild and trying to help propagate it, in my own little backyard here. So that's my little talk about stewardship or conservation or whatever you want to talk about. But I'll go ahead and stop droning on about that. Now this is, I believe, the mimosa or the Persian silk tree. If not, it's a variation of it. I actually got this out of somebody else's yard. I asked permission. It's okay, it's like a neighbor. And to finish flowering, I grabbed a bunch of seed pods. They said it was fine, just to see what would happen. And eventually I'm going to grow these for the nitrogen fixing properties up at the farm, as the soil there is very depleted, kind of shifting towards more of a permaculture, organic, natural farming practices, so therefore using a lot of permaculture principles such as nitrogen fixing trees. Okay, and it may not look like much right now, but this is one of the pomegranates that I grew from seed. I'm trying to get through this little fence here, guys, but see, it's kind of putting off some little side branches here low, and it's about maybe 12 to 14 inches tall currently. But yeah, it's technically not supposed to be able to survive our winters here in Zone 6B, 7A, Eastern United States, but we're going to see. All right, so a little better view here as an airplane is flying overhead. This is the pomegranate, and it's very, very, very healthy. Okay, and like I said, it may not survive the winter here, but this is all for fun. Started these seeds way back in probably December of the 2021, and they're doing quite well. So hopefully it'll survive. I'll mulch it up. Hopefully, if anything, maybe it'll die back to the ground and then re-emerge from the rootstock. Hopefully it doesn't die out completely, but I have backup plans. I have several in containers, several in different spots around the yard and at the farm. So hopefully at least one of them will survive, and then maybe select that one as the as maybe the parent for some grafts, for some cuttings and some things like that, to try to expand the cold tolerant plants that I have, is what I'm trying to say. So let me go ahead and swing you guys around to the front of the house and show you some amazing developments with the fig trees. Okay, so before we get to the fig trees, check out this mulberry. I grew this from a cutting last year. It's not doing as good as I would like it to be doing. You can kind of tell some discoloration on the leaves. And I think that this guy just needs to be put out into the actual farm, into the nice soil, as it may just have outgrown this pot and or just needs more fertilizer or better location than I can provide it in this container. But there you go, guys. You can grow things from seeds so easily. Don't let people discourage you. You know, don't get hung up on variety names and variety types, etc., etc. Just have fun with it. Grow it out, okay? And through cuttings like this with the mulberry, it is going to produce an identical clone to the parent plant. So that is one advantage from getting cuttings as opposed to seed. But you know, I like the variety, or the game. Just have fun with it. Just have fun with it, is what I'm trying to say. So right here, this is another one of the pomegranates. Now this one seems to be doing a little bit better in this little container. And yes, this container is very small because I'm going to attempt to make this into a small specimen, or maybe more of a bonsai. As I've read, pomegranates do make wonderful bonsai specimens and trees. So definitely fertilized this guy up recently. It's super, super dark green and very healthy. And next to it is a Japanese maple that is several years old. I grew this from seed. It's not doing as well as I'd like it to be. I think this spot here gets a little too much sunlight in the evenings. I do probably need to move it. It likes more of a shadier spot. As you can kind of tell, some of the leaves, like right here, kind of getting burned. That's from the sun getting all crispy. So definitely do need to move that. But the pomegranate takes the full sun and keeps on ticking, as it is more of a plant grown in the desert and hot, arid regions anyway. So I may need to just switch these two plants around and provide a little bit more shade for this Japanese maple that I'm also trying to turn into a little bonsai. And no, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've watched some videos. I'm just having fun with it, guys. That's what it's all about. Just have fun. You can always plant more seeds and try again if you mess something up. So let me go ahead and show you some of my more impressive plants right now. All right, so just for scale, this plant, this fig plant here, fig tree, is absolutely enormous. Okay, now the last couple times we got some pretty cold winters. It actually froze down to the ground and then came back. This year we had very, very little damage at all. The plants did start to kind of bud out. We had an unexpected cold snap. It did kill the tips off, but they have rebounded dramatically. So I have yet to get figs off of these. Hopefully this year is the year. I know last year I got one little guy that never really fully developed, but just looking here, I love this. It's like a jungle, right? It's exploring the jungle with Dave, the Hillside gardener. But check it out. See that stalk on that, or the stem? That is very, very thick. It's tree-like. It's, you know, it's lignified. It's no longer like just a little plant like it used to be. This is turning into a full-fledged tree. And I think one of the benefits of this tree being where it's at is it is on, let me just show you. There's a rock wall next to you. See my truck? But here's up the rock wall. So it does get good drainage. Every time it rains, you can see the water leaching out from the wall and the seep holes and everything. So this does have a very, very well draining area for these fig trees. It gets full sun, and I think all these factors are really, really helping this out. And all I do, guys, is I fertilize this with horse manure and compost in the spring. Well, guys, there you go. It's a little lengthy, but definitely worth it. Little update on the trees grown from seed here at the Hillside. 2022, year of the tree. Get out there and plant you some seeds, join along, have some fun with it, and you never know what might be growing here on the Hillside next time. Until then, guys, be good, and I'll see you. Bye.